Welcome back to one of my favorite sports podcasts, Frizz and the Grizz, with your host Trudeau and my guy, Frizzy Frizz.
Hello and welcome back to Frizz and the Grizz. It's your boy Trudeau. Thank you for joining us live Monday, August 25th. You can catch us live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Check out the Twitch handle at @dfrizzy_Frizz5, or watch us next day on podcast, Apple, Spotify, all those good places. Hook your boys up. Don't forget to hit the buttons, rate, subscribe, review. Very fun show for you today. My favorite day of the year, my favorite show of the year. It's time for me and D to talk some fantasy football. That's right. We're going to do a 12-man league format. We're going to use the ADP and guide you through what you should do to win your fantasy league. But before we get into that, my co-host here, D, what it do?
What up? What up? What up? Happy Tuesday. Monday. That's how busy it's been. It already feels like it's a Tuesday, man. Eesh.
That is a bad sign, a bad omen for how the show's going to go.
I mean, we're going to be fine. I'll talk football, but it already feels like it's the middle of the week, bro. It already feels like it's the middle of the week. It's because I'm ready for football season. I'm ready for it to just be now. We don't have to worry about the work days and all that shit. It's just football. That's all I'm worried about.
By the way, isn't it weird that the football season in college already kicked off? I hate how early they're starting college football. They had the week -1 game between Kansas State and was it Kansas State and Oklahoma State?
Yeah, no, not Oklahoma State. Kansas State and Iowa State. Yeah, Iowa State.
Game that nobody cared about.
That's a lie.
You watched it?
I 100% watched that. Absolutely. Yeah, it was a great game too. I'm not going to need to go into depth, but yes, it was a great game in Ireland. I don't know why you would not want to watch that.
Because nobody cares about those teams. They're going to do nothing this year in football. I'm waiting.
It's Big 12. They'll definitely, one of them is going to have to do something.
I'm just waiting. For me, the official start of college football season will be Texas, Ohio State this weekend.
This Saturday. What do you mean? Clemson, LSU? Come on now. Nobody cares about Texas, Ohio State.
Except for everyone.
Yeah,
number 1 versus number 3. But we're not talking college today. We're talking pros. Me and D are, again, like I said before, we're going to go through probably a good 12 rounds, highlighting some guys you want to look at in the draft. We're going to talk strategy, how to approach the draft, and how to approach fantasy in general. I have a rules to draft by segment to start off with, but before that, do you anything else before you kick off into the actual fantasy talk?
No, man, I'm ready. I'm hyped. I think I don't want to go to every other week. You know what I mean? I feel like when it's football season, I like weekly, but I feel there's much more energy when we go every other week because we got so much shit that we want to go over. So it's fun, but when it's football season, it's gonna be good to go back to week.
I've been chomping at the bits for 3 days to talk fantasy, so I'm here. I might actually start talking too fast because I'm so excited. All right, let's get into our first little segment. This is my rules to draft by D. You can obviously interject. I have 9 rules that I approach my fantasy draft with to have a successful outcome. I'm going to cue up some music for this because I feel like it's necessary. All right. My first rule is I like to approach the fantasy draft in any sport. Fantasy football, baseball, basketball. I love fantasy sports. I think of it like the stock market, right? It's all about getting value, right? You don't want to buy that stock at its all-time high. You want to wait for it to dip down low. Everyone's given up on it. I like to zig when others zag. So my first rule to draft by is value. And what I mean by that is when you're approaching the draft, you might think you're pick number 10 in the 12-man draft, right? And you want a certain player. Let's say you're really interested in Ashton Genty, but for some reason, Justin Jefferson has fallen to God out of nowhere in pick 10. You have to be able to be malleable and be adaptive to just continually grab value, especially towards the top of the draft.
Okay, I understand that.
That's especially true. I like to play auction drafts, and that is all about how much you're willing to pay, and it's all about getting that value. Second rule to draft by: you can't win your league with your first 2 rounds. However, you can absolutely lose your league with the first 2 rounds. Meaning, when I'm drafting my first 2 rounds, or if I'm getting my first 2 players in an auction draft that I really want to build my roster out with, I want what we call anchor players. Players that I can feel confident every week in and week out. They can be my RB1, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, RB2, right? So I want those anchor players. You do not want to screw up in the first 2 rounds of the draft and get too cute.
Yeah, that's fair, especially if you're saying you do auction. You don't want to waste too much money on somebody that is unnecessary at that position. So, yeah, I like that.
And this is my rule number 3 that kind of ties into the idea of not screwing your draft up in the first 2 rounds. you have to understand risk tolerance, right? So every player comes with an inherent risk, whether it be they have a young backup chomping at the bits trying to get their position, whether it be a Christian McCaffrey who's a perennial injury risk, right? There, every player comes with a percentage of risk, right? So understand that going to the draft. Once you start at the top of the draft, you want to have as much risk aversion as possible. But as you start weaning yourself down to lower rounds, you can open yourself up for more risk as those rounds progress.
Makes sense. You also want to keep handcuffs available.
Yeah, yes and no, right? It depends on the player and the circumstances, because there are some circumstances where, if so, let's talk about Christian McCaffrey. If Christian McCaffrey goes down, I don't believe there's a handcuff. They have Isaac Orendo. They have they just traded for Brian Thomas. No,
Yes, Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah, Brian Thomas Jr. So it's like
Brian Robinson. Brian Robinson.
Thank you. They don't, handcuffs aren't always the way to go, but like there are circumstances, like this is one of my lottery picks later, is like a Trey Benson in Arizona, where he is going to be a workhorse if James Conner goes down, which he has injury history. Last couple rules. After the first 6 rounds, and you've filled out your roster in fantasy, I love lottery tickets. So some newer players to fantasy have the tendency of taking that old name that's just around, like a DeAndre Hopkins in the previous years, like, oh, he used to be good, let's get him. No, that's when you get your lottery tickets. Get those guys who are relatively unknown that if they pop, they're going to carry you to a championship.
Those are your late draft pick wide receivers and running backs.
Or tight ends.
Possibly.
Number 5, this is a really important rule that people often, this is not quite during the draft, but just a general philosophy, don't bail early. So like if you came into the draft picking a guy who has that lottery ticket potential and the first 2 weeks go by and it hasn't happened, it's not looking good, you drafted him for a reason. You knew that player wasn't going to produce early. Like, don't panic, don't bail early, don't sell out, drop the player, see it out. And that the same thing goes if you draft a guy in the second round, he has not produced in the first 3 weeks. Don't panic. Do not sell early. Do not let someone buy low on that. Just don't bail early in your players.
I think that was Justin Jefferson last year. I think first 2 games he didn't really do the best, and then became wide receiver number 1.
Next 2 rules kind of go hand in hand. Know your league rules, right? Every league settings differently. Some do 4 points for passing touchdown. Some do 6 points for passing touchdown. Why is that? Why does that mean something? Well, because a lot of these ADP rankings and a lot of these expert rankings, they account for 4 points per passing touchdown. So like a Joe Burrow and a 4 point per passing touchdown league might be lower on their rankings than for your league setting. So what I'm saying is, like, know what guys can produce for you before you make that decision. And then know your league teammates, like know your league mates, because I live up in New England. I'm sure you're in leagues with New England guys. A guy like Trevion Henderson is going to go
very high.
Very high. He's going to be overreached. So like, know what people in your league might do, and you can kind of account for that. Like, ooh, this guy follows me, probably not. Or like maybe they all hate a guy from a certain team. That guy might slide you because there's a biasy.
The Brady rules. I think it was the Brady rules and the Edelman rules. Those guys would always get overdrafted.
And then the last 2, I know this is a very prolonged rules to draft by. I like the draft and stash philosophy for one of my picks. I'm never leaving a draft with a kicker. Never. I will draft like a Chris Godwin, maybe in the 13th, 14th round, 12th round, have him on my team. And as soon as the league week starts, I'm going to throw him immediately in the IR and take the open roster spot to grab a kicker at that point. So it's an additional player you're just adding to your roster.
Smart.
And then finally, just understand that fantasy football is a weekly game. So there might be players who have a very small window at the beginning of the season, right? So for example, in this, I don't know who benefits, but like Jordan Addison, we know he's going to miss the first 3 weeks of football. Somebody's going to fill in the role there, right? They just traded for who was the little white slot receiver that was with the Panthers last year? I don't know why I'm drawing a blank.
Adam Thielen.
They just traded for Adam Thielen. I don't like Adam Thielen. Do I think he's going to be a great fantasy player all year round? No. But maybe if you're weak at wide receiver, he could be a substitute wide receiver 3 for the first 3 weeks because there is opportunity. So again, fantasy is a weekly game, right? You might have to take an approach of like patching the ship up for a few couple weeks, or just ride a hot hand at the beginning of the season and make plans elsewhere. So those are my rules to just, when you walk into a draft, just think of those things.
I don't mind them. Everybody has their own. Obviously, it's difference between 10 and 12 man. For you, it's auction. For others, it's keepers. So as long as you have like your own, and this is what I would go by. As long as you have your own set of rules as to like what you feel is valuable per league that you're in, you're good. If you go in with no game plan, is probably the reason why you're finishing 10th or 12th in your league, because you really just go in just to play. Now, we're out here to try to win some bread. Majority of the time since we've been doing this show, both of us have either been in a championship or have won a championship for all of the leagues. So we're not experts, but if you follow your own set of rules, it's definitely going to set you up for success.
All right, so let's transition and talk about what we call the anchor players again, right? The first 2 rounds of the draft where we do not want to miss. We do not want to swing and miss on these players, because if we do, again, it's going to be disastrous. It's going to be hard to climb out of the hole. We'll start at the top of the draft. I think we'll spend a lot of time talking about some of these players around the top. I'll just name off the first couple, and then we can just discuss some of them. So in order of where their ADP is: Jamar Chase 1, Saquon Barkley, Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Justin Jefferson, Derrick Henry, CeeDee Lamb. For me, just personally, like, I'm totally cool with Jamar Chase as number 1, especially if you're in a full PPR league, even half PPR. We know the Bengals are going to be a rough unit defensively. They're going to throw the ball a lot. He's excellent. This might be super controversial, and this might be our first talking point of the podcast episode. I would be very, very, very hesitant to draft Saquon Barkley in the top 5.
Ooh, top 5, really? Now, I know we've talked here about changes to the Eagles' offensive line. They did lose one of their offensive linemen to the Chargers, and their left guard or left tackle just got. Yeah, he's out. He's out with like torn meniscus, and they're like, he'll be ready for week 1. Crazy with the NFL. But yes, so I'm not against what you're saying, but they still had the Pro Football Focus number 1 offensive ranked line.
That's good.
Like, while still they swapped around 5 linemen, right? It wasn't just those same 5 every single week. So I think the scheme with Sirianni, along with Saquon Barkley just being that damn good, I would hesitate to say outside of top 5, but I understand what you mean.
He's excellent. I'm not even worried so much about the line with Saquon Barkley going this high in the draft.
Don't talk to me about history.
Last year, he had one of the highest workloads in NFL history. Like, he almost broke the single season record for rushing yards in a season, right? He had one of the highest workloads. I think he was somewhere around 350 carries last year. Historically, if you look at the data, and I've heard this in many places, players with that high of a workload in the previous season regressed quite a bit in the next season. And I'm not saying Saquon Barkley is going to finish as like the 20th ranked fantasy player, but I could see him falling down to like 12, 13, because again, he's going to be fatigued. They had a very long run to the Super Bowl. And I think if the Eagles are smart, they will manage him a little bit better. And I'm also worried a little bit for injury concerns with all that wear and tear from the prior season. So, like, to me, you're taking Saquon pick 2. If you're in an auction draft, maybe you're allocating 35% of your budget on him. If he does regress, right, to like a round 2 player, that's disastrous for the top of the draft.
Yeah, I would say biggest risk in the top 4 would definitely be Saquon, just based off of, like you said, history is huge. I mean, they don't really have a backup, so it's not like they have a backup plan. They're going to run him into the ground. And if there is a player in the NFL that I would bet money on that, no, he can handle this, it's Saquon Barkley. Like, just by his work ethic, the way that he works out, like, he runs Bo Jackson like, right? Like, we haven't seen this type of running back. He's a Hall of Famer, which we haven't been able to say there's a Hall of Fame running back outside of Adrian Peterson in like the last 20, 25 years where it's like a lock. Saquon Barkley is that guy. So there's history, and then there's just how good he is. Really depends on how like the first 5 weeks go with them.
I felt very strongly about Bijan Robinson going into today, right? Because in the second half of the season, after Penix took over the job, Saquon's productivity really took an upswing.
Bijan.
It's actually, he goes like Bijan now.
Bijan. Well, you said Saquon. I was just correcting you.
Oh, my apologies. Thank you. Yeah, Robinson's production went through the roof last year after Penix took over. The only thing that does give me some concern now, literally today, the news broke that they just lost their starting right tackle for a significant period of time, and the backup right tackle is already out. So they're going to be down to their 3rd string tackle. Like, it's just one position. I think that's probably more of an impact for the pass catchers because that's Penix's blind side. But like, that does give me a little concern. I love Chase. I would be stoked if I was drafting 4th or 5th to get Jahmyr Gibbs. I think that's a great pick. And then Jett is like, I'm not concerned. I think he's JJ proof.
So that you heard me say inside the top 4, the biggest risk is Saquon. I think 5 to 10,
A lot
JJ
of
might
risk.
be. Yeah, I think JJ Justin Jefferson might be the biggest risk right now
Really?
because the player is phenomenal. Is he going to get his numbers? We saw Nook get. I have to say not nicknames, but we saw DeAndre Hopkins get his numbers with every single quarterback that played for the Houston Texans. So like, there's people that can do that. I think Justin Jefferson can. I just believe that the Minnesota Vikings have so much against them right now offensively. I just don't see him being wide receiver 3 to start to finish this season because of Jordan Addison is out suspension wise. He's going to draw more double teams. There really isn't a second or tertiary player, although you talked about Adam Thielen. JJ McCarthy has thrown 5 passes in the preseason, but he's supposed to be the starting quarterback. Like, there's just a lot going up against, against the Vikings. And is McConnell? I always say the last name wrong. Who's the coach for the
Kevin O'Connell.
Kevin O'Connell? He's a great coach. So I'm not saying that like they're going to be like 2-15. I just look at it as if there's a guy that like he's a phenomenal athlete, but he's just not surrounded by the best team right now. It's Justin Jefferson this year.
Yeah, it's weird. The top 10, I'm looking at it, and I feel like there's more risk in the top 10 than there's ever been before. Because
there was a lot of people that they outkicked their coverage last season. I'll tell you that.
I don't know why, and history will prove me wrong probably in this point in this take. I'm also a little skittish on Derrick Henry again, because the age, like he did it last year. He's super old last year, and we were like, oh my god, he still has it. Can he repeat? Like he was going last year, end of round 1, early round 2. Now he's a top 7 pick. It's like, do we expect him to have the same season? I don't know. The one guy in the top 10 that I'm head over heels for in this fantasy draft, we mentioned it before the show, is CeeDee Lamb.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. He's a lock.
The Cowboys offense will feast this year because the defense is so bad. People are a little skittish and worried because, they brought in George Pickens. Well, they play very different roles. George Pickens is a down the field stretcher, and CeeDee Lamb, for all his glitz and glamour, he does not operate in that space. He works in those like 8 to 10 intermediate routes. He's excellent in that position, and to me, it's only going to open up more space for him to operate.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think now that could reach, obviously, because of the whole Jefferson thing, but I think if you get CeeDee Lamb to drop between 4 and 8 picks, 4 and 8, I think you're good. I think if you get him 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th, that's a solid wide receiver 1, just because of how much the offense is going to be focused around Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. There's no running game. Their defense is just as bad, if not worse, than the Bengals without Micah back there. So yeah, I would say they're going to force feed CeeDee Lamb this season.
What's your opinion on Christian McCaffrey? Because I talked earlier right off the jump about the idea of rounds 1 and 2, you want to be risk adverse. And McCaffrey is at this moment going around pick number 8, 9. Here's the thing. If it hits, he could carry you to a championship, because if he stays healthy for, let's say, a 17 game season, if he's healthy for 15 games, he can finish running back number 1 overall fantasy player. Right. But it's avoiding the devastating losing McCaffrey for 6, 7, 8 weeks, which has happened. We just saw it last year. I will say this about McCaffrey that would give me some confidence, is that what happened last year was that he got hurt at the beginning of the season, right? It was I forgot what the initial injury was, but he rushed back a little bit. He really wanted to get back. He was training hard to get back. Probably came back a little too early, had the calf issue after that, missed the remainder of the season. So like maybe, right, if the second injury doesn't happen, if they wait a week with McCaffrey, we have 10 games of McCaffrey, 9 games of McCaffrey. It feels a lot better, but because of how it ended last year, it feels a lot worse. Are you touching McCaffrey in the first round, knowing that he has that much of a risk? But again, it's high risk, high reward with him.
Out. Ben out on McCaffrey. And there's no disrespect to the player. It was Achilles. It was Achilles and calf.
First, yeah.
And this, hey man, like look at what's taken down NBA superstars. You know what I'm saying? Like, Achilles ain't something to mess with, and just because you recover doesn't mean that it goes away. So no, I'm out on Christian McCaffrey. Just his last 6 seasons that he's finished. Well, not even finished. This is how many games played: 3 in Carolina, 7 in Carolina, 6 in Carolina, 11 in San Fran, 17 in 2022, which is great. 16 in 2023, back to back.
Great
You got
years for
good,
him, too.
great years, and then 4.
Yeah.
There's too much risk. Now, if he slides to you 12, 13, 14, sure.
You got to
Right?
take there.
You have to, but based off of name, but top 8, like you said, these are your anchors, guys that you know are going to play 16, 17 games per season. Maybe there's one missed because of, load management long season, but no, I'm not. I can't hitch the wagons on a
So-
top 8 pick to Christian McCaffrey.
He's one of those players that I'm in an auction league. I'm going to nominate him first when I get my choice to nominate a player, because if people are skittish, I'll take the value. But if people are crazy about him, I will back away from the computer and say, have fun, blow your budget. I'm good. I'm out.
The one draft that I haven't participated in yet, but we got draft order. I'm at 4, and I'm glad that I'm not closer to like 8 to 10, where that decision would have had to been made of crap. Like, do I like Malik Neighbors? Do I like Nico Collins, who's also coming off of injury, or do I like Christian McCaffrey? Like, that's a tough decision if you're drafting between 8 and 10.
The Neighbors thing is interesting too, because low key he's been dealing with an injury all preseason. So like, I don't know where he's going to be start of the season. So we'll see with that one. I will say though, if he is healthy and fully healthy, Malik Neighbors should absolutely replicate his production from last year, because he has a better deep ball thrower now. I know you can make fun of Russ all you want, but like Russ's specialty is the deep ball, and that
was also his accuracy. We'll give him that. He's gonna get you the ball. He's old as shit, and he's not he can't cook like he used to. But yeah, Russ is gonna get you the ball, unlike Daniel Jones or whoever the hell the quarterbacks were last year.
And then just one last thing in the first round I just want to mention is Ashton Genty. I know, like, we've personally said on this show the idea of like, man, that's a really bad offensive line. I don't know about this Raiders team. History would say that for a top 10 drafted running back in fantasy, I think I've heard the stats like they never finished below 8th, like RB8, just despite how poor the line was. And we think about Saquon when he was a rookie in that Giants line. It was one of the worst lines in football, and he still finished as RB1 that season. So there is history to say, like, if this player is truly special in Ashton Genty, doesn't matter how poor the line is around him, he will find a way to produce in fantasy football.
It's also because he's a rookie. Rookie legs run differently than somebody that's been in the league for 4 or 5 years. So I would give the nod to Ashton Genty if I have, a top 10 pick, and I'm afraid of someone like a Christian McCaffrey or Nico Collins coming off of injury. I may take a flyer at like 8 for him. Also, I know it's just preseason. We talked about this. I said that he looks differently he will look different when Geno's out there. He did. He 100% looked like a different running back in the one game that they had Geno out there for a couple of snaps. And it's like that. It's just the ability of getting the ball where it needs to go. I know that they just picked up Amari Cooper. They have Trey Tucker, who's returning. He's great. Jacoby Myers is good on the outside. Like, Geno Smith is a serviceable quarterback. We saw the running back for the Seattle Seahawks. Can't remember his name.
The third.
Kenneth Walker was a no-name running back, and he finished as like a top 10 running back because of somebody like a Geno Smith. So I'm not too worried. I know there were a lot of people like, he has so many miles on him. No, you get to the NFL. I don't think that really matters. You just look at people like Lev Bell, who had a lot of miles at Michigan State, dominated. Derrick Henry dominated. Like, I don't think the college game is the same when it comes to like how much you're bringing into the NFL.
So we're going to move into round 2. And again, round 1 and 2, we're talking about our anchor players, guys that we want low risk and just like a really high floor on. So just to name off the round 2 guys: Josh Jacobs, Jonathan Taylor, Brian Thomas Jr., Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devon Achane, Drake London, Kyron Williams, A.J. Brown, Bucky Irving, Lamar Jackson, Chase Brown, and Josh Allen. So we have 2 quarterbacks coming off the board and round 2 in this ADP. The one name that sticks out to me is someone I'm going to personally target in round 2 in my auction draft is Kyron Williams. Right, we're talking about the definition of like boring but stable. If I had Kyron Williams as my RB1, I would feel pretty comfortable. Like, is he going to finish as a top 5 running back? Probably not. But I think the floor is so high with him in this LA offense and the ability to get in the end zone, where it's like, this is a guy who I think of as the epitome of an anchor player, where I can feel confident week in, week out that he will produce for me.
He will if Stafford is healthy. A lot of the offense, and this, I know we skipped over
practice today, by the way.
Backs don't crack. Well, they kind of do. But backs are injuries that are just prolonged, man. He's the same age as me. I think he might even be older than me. So, like, that's not a good thing, right? But I'm with you on that. I think in the second round, if there's somebody that I look at and amongst those 12 picks and go, yeah, that's probably the most consistent you're going to get out of that position, it's 100% going to be Kyron Williams. He finished incredibly well last year, where he wasn't the guy that was going to get you 30, 40 points and explode, but he's going to get you 18. He can get you 18 every single game. He's going to get you 60 yards, a touchdown, and maybe 4 catches for 30 yards. And then all of a sudden you look and go, damn, he outperformed my RB1 because he is just consistent. And he's not going to, like I said, he's not going to have the explosive 70-point game like a Devin A-Chain or something like that, but he is going to get you the same amount per game.
Yeah, and a lot of these other guys in the second round, I do see some risk there. Particularly like a Devon A-Chain. He's one of those guys who, if he hits, he's going to hit. But we saw the Miami offense last year just kind of fall on its face. A Bucky Irving, I'm a Bucks fan. I love Bucky Irving. He's awesome. But for me, it's a little bit rich for my blood. Like middle of the second round for a guy who's done it 1 year. Like I want to see a little more. And they do have a couple guys in that backfield they do like. Is there anyone else that sticks out to you, like that you want to discuss in that second round?
I think Drake London is going to have an explosive year.
Okay,
I really do. I was out on him as the number one, which it made sense. Even with Kirk Cousins, I was like, I don't think Drake is that guy. And then towards the end of last season, he picked it up, and you go, ooh, he's got some skill. And then we were able to see, as long as Penix Jr. doesn't throw it to what was the tight end that can't.
Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, as long as they throw it to Kyle Pitts, like that offense would be great. But I think Drake London took over as like a solid wide receiver 2, maybe wide receiver 1.5. If you go with like if your strategy is wide receiver, then pick up running backs in the back end. If you have Jamar and then you get to this second round area and like more of names get thrown off the board and you get dropped down to a Drake London, yeah, I think that's a great pair to have because he's going to get the ball. He's going to get a shit ton of targets.
Yeah, the only other wide receiver I really love in this area is Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Well, that's a lock. There's no need to even talk about him. You get him on your spot, you got to take him.
Amon-Ra, and right now in ADP, Amon-Ra and Drake London are going within 3 picks of each other, which is insane.
Yeah.
So I
think there's a lot of value for it. I know we skipped over him. Me personally, I don't like Jonathan Taylor this high. I just think that we've seen his peak, and the quarterback situation is so shitty in Indianapolis that it hurts him because people are like, well, we can't throw, so we load up the box and stop him, and you're good. And we talked about A-Chain, obviously. I think there's a lot of value behind Brian Thomas Jr. this year. I think you might see incredible production because they have Travis Hunter, right? I'm not saying that Travis Hunter is going to be the number 1 wide receiver. I think Brian Thomas is a better wide receiver than Travis Hunter. But because Hunter's out there, you can't put 2 on him, right? And I think the Jaguars have Cole Strange too, right? I think
that's a tight end.
Yeah, so like they have the pieces. As long as T. Law does what he's supposed to do, I'm out on Trevor Lawrence, but like he could still be serviceable as a quarterback. Brian Thomas is he might finish top 5 as wide receivers this year.
And then one I did not mention is like, this would be an ideal scenario, right? If you pick Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson in the first 4 picks, I think Chase Brown at the end of the second round, running back for Cincinnati, I think he has an excellent opportunity to have an extremely high ceiling this year. Again, because I am buying all the stock of the Bengals offense just based on how many points they're going to put up. Someone has to put the ball in the end zone. He seems like he'll be the only one that's really getting the lion's share of the work in the backfield. So based on volume, right, Chase Brown should be in a very, very good. If you have him as your RB1 after getting like a top end wide receiver 1, I'm totally cool with that.
Well, he's a receiver that catches passes. That is huge. That is half point or full point PPR, whatever your league is, running backs that can catch the ball and they're not splitting carries or splitting time with another, third down running back are huge. So I would say, yeah, that's a great value. They don't have really a backup in Cincinnati for Chase Brown anymore. Like it's just him. I think it's Samaje Perine still, but like they love him. And I think this is a good year, not a contract year yet, but one of those like, look, you guys gave me the keys last year. I showed you that I can do it. Do it again this year and watch what I can do. And
then I just wanted to give your general question because we saw at the end of this ADP round 2, we have Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen coming off the board. To me, too high for the quarterback. I'm looking more like middle of third, early the fourth round. If we get one of those guys, I think that's a bit of a reach. How do you feel about the quarterback, the top quarterback in general? Because the understanding I have is like there's a big four this
Yeah.
year, and might be, you might not like my big four, but it would be Josh Allen,
Yep.
Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts,
Yep.
and probably Jaden Daniels because of his rushing ability.
Yep.
And then slightly below that is Joe Burrow, just because, again, he's not getting any of the rushing yards, even though he's going to cook offensively. Do you believe that that's kind of how this should be tiered out as far as quarterbacks go?
Depending on your rules.
Again,
Because if you get 6 points per passing touchdown, Joe Burrow becomes the top 3 quarterback easily. If you have 4 points per passing and 6 per rushing, then yes, you see Joe become the 5th or 6th best. Outside of that, look, man, like rushing touchdowns are huge nowadays. Jalen Hurts is not a 300-yard passing quarterback, but he's just they get into the red zone, they're tush pushing him. And like we thought that was going to take away from Saquon. Nope, both of them cooked last year in the red zone. So like that boosts those guys. And Josh Allen is a rushing threat along with Lamar Jackson. Do I like them in the round 2 area? That is kind of steep, right? It just depends on when you're drafting, though. So like if you have the first or second pick, you might have to take one of those players now because you might exactly if you want, because you may not trust what quarterbacks you're getting on the swing end when those guys are gone in rounds 4 and 5.
Yeah. And the idea of Joe Burrow, we talk about Joe Burrow versus the other guys. Just for me, I understand like comparing 4-point passing touchdowns versus 6. Even for me, it's not so much that, but it's the rushing upside that some of those other 4 guys give me. It's getting like 30 rushing yards a game, 35 rushing yards a game is a huge floor raiser, right? If your passing game's not going on offense, those 35 rushing yards from Lamar Jackson could absolutely save your week. So like I love
balancer because it's a balancer because people throw interceptions and fumble.
Yeah,
it's just the way that it is, and it's like there really isn't. If Joe Burrow throws a pick, there's no way for him to make it up. Right? If Kirk Cousins fumbles the ball, there's no way for him to make it up because he's not running for 20 yards to make up for that turnover compared to even Bo Nix. Bo Nix gets a turnover. Well, he has the ability of getting a rushing touchdown. So like that makes up for those types of blunders that you have in the game.
Yeah, my plan is going to be targeting Jalen Hurts because I think they're all pretty similar in value. And Hurts is, as of today's ADP, he's going almost a whole round after the other guys.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. Round 3 is where it gets a little. This is where you start to okay.
Yeah. So round 3 is
a lot of names.
6. I call this the roster rounders round, right? So at this point, you probably drafted your RB1, your wide receiver 1. So now it's time, or maybe you just went double running back, double wide receiver, whatever. Now it's time to get good players who can fill out those needs. Just fill out like you need to start through wide receivers. You start 2 running backs, right? Whatever. Like you want to at least leave these rounds with, hey, I have a framework of a team, right? Round 3 goes T. Higgins, Joe Burrow, Ladd McConkey, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, Jaden Daniels, James Cook, Mike Evans, Alvin Kamara, Metcalf, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Jalen Hurts. This is where it gets interesting. A couple names that really stick out to me in this round, good or bad. I said at the top of the show, I want to be very risk adverse the first 2 rounds. Listen, I know that the Dolphins had an awful year last year. I know that people drafted.
They're flying high on Tyreek Hill this year.
I know people drafted Tyreek Hill in the top 4 picks last year, and people are sour as hell because of what happened. Mm-hmm. History would show me that Tyreek Hill is still a very good player, right? I am going to, if Tyreek Hill slips me the middle to the bottom of the 3rd round, I have to take that. Because listen, you don't get any prize money, you don't get a trophy, you don't get a ribbon, whatever, for finishing 4th in your fantasy league. Tyreek Hill is a player who, if you draft him in the 3rd round and he hits, you're getting 1st round value on that. And that's going to make you a league winner, right? I'm not playing fantasy to finish 4th.
I like that. That's a high risk, high reward type of deal, though, right? Everybody on the Dolphins offense, this is including Jalen Waddle, it's all hindered around the health of one person. So if you take him, Tua plays 16 games, he's like you said, he's a league winner. Tua plays 4 games, and they got to roll out Skylar Thompson.
No, they got who was the Jets quarterback that they drafted high? He's their backup now.
Oh, Sam Darnold.
No,
Sam Darnold.
from BYU.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, Zach Wilson?
Zach Wilson's their backup.
Oh my goodness. I think I'd rather have Skylar Thompson. Oh my goodness. I mean, like, I know this isn't a show about like roster moves, but like the Miami Dolphins just don't prep for shit. Like, Tua gets hurt every single year, and instead of your backup plan being somebody that can be like coherent, you bring in Zach Wilson. Like, come on.
I have a feeling that's a situation in Miami where if Tua does go down in the first couple weeks, they give it a call for Kirk Cousins and bring Kirk over.
People were saying that with New Orleans, and I was like, I don't want that. Leave us alone.
I'll let you throw your name in, but one more that I'm very interested in. Again, we talked about the idea of like fantasy is like a stock market, right? You want to buy the dip on these things, like to zig when others zag, be greedy when others are fearful. Last year, Marvin Harrison Jr. was so hyped coming out of the draft, and he was drafted as a round 2 player in fantasy. He's now slipped to almost round 4. I'm buying the dip on Marvin Harrison Jr. and knowing that you're out, I already tell. Knowing that, listen, the pedigree in this guy so high, right? He was drafted in the NFL draft 4th overall. The Cardinals could have traded back and gotten picks, and people would have traded up to get Marvin Harrison Jr. They said, no, this is our guy. I think they find ways to get him more involved this year. I think he has a more productive second year. I think this is a good value buy here.
I love the prospect in Marvin Harrison. I don't love the offense that's around him. Kyler Murray is showing that like he's injury prone every single season, and he didn't even look for him. I know they got to find ways to get him the ball, but like there were just times where he wasn't even looking for Marvin Harrison. Now, a whole year later, more scheme, more game plan amongst your number 1 wide receiver that you have on your team. Hopefully, there's more of an involvement. But just from what I saw last year, I look at it as he to the Arizona Cardinals. He's a piece. He's not the piece, and I don't like that. I think that they believe Kyler is the offense, not Marvin Harrison. I think that's what's going to plague against him.
Anyone else in this 3rd round that's sticking out to you?
Yeah, you skipped it, and I'm surprised. Buying all in on Ladd McConkey stock this year. Buying on him.
I do like Ladd. I'm pro Ladd. I just think his ADP has risen so much that now it's like the value's gone. I don't think he's a 2nd round wide receiver. Like that's
why it shows he's third though.
2nd round. He's kissing it though. He's very close to a 2nd round player now.
Sure, but like look. Yeah, round 2, I'm not taking him. But if he's there round 3, beginning or end, buying in all on stock with Ladd. Quentin Johnston is terrible. He looks so bad. I'm surprised they even still have him on the team. But I think with the way that Harbaugh has found a way to try to unlock Justin Herbert, they just picked up Omari and Hampton, which I'm sure that name's going to start coming up a little bit sooner. But like I think they have a good offense. Do I think they win the West? No, because the Chiefs are still the Chiefs, but they're gonna be up there when it comes to offensive production because of the way that they drafted. I know that they picked up Najee Harris as a running back, but I think you get, and I think Keenan Allen is back too. I'm pretty sure Keenan Allen is back.
Yeah.
So they have their guy for their wide receiver position. Although Keenan's there, is Ladd McConkey. He's going to get a shit ton of targets. He catches them. He runs the full route tree. He's not just a burner or a route runner. He's like a Puka Nacua-esque type wide receiver. Put him on the field, throw it towards him, and he's going to get the ball.
DK Metcalf in this range, I'm just going to stay away from him completely. I don't trust Aaron Rodgers. I don't want anything to do with that Pittsburgh offense. Alvin Kamara is an interesting case. I think that he'll have a pretty good start to the season, but I'm going to stay away from Alvin Kamara for the fact that like I could absolutely see by week 12 when you're ready to enter the fantasy playoffs, you're like, hey, big dog.
It's production.
Hell of a season, man. Like we're 2-12. Like, yeah, why don't you just have a seat on the bench, homie? Like rest those legs.
Yeah, 100%. They paid him. He's returning. I mean, he's retiring as a Saints player. So like, you got a keeper league and you get him in like the 7th round, sure. But like, yeah, this is coming from a
On the
Saints
third
fan.
round.
There's not. That's like I think you said that's too expensive for my taste. Yeah, I don't like Alvin Kamara in round 3, unfortunately.
Mike Evans is a guy in the third round. I look at him like, you're so good, man, but at some point the wheels got to fall off. Like I don't know when it's going to
You're
happen.
not going to because he's a dog. But
Yes.
the way that I look at Mike Evans is if in this position you have your wide receiver 1 and a running back, you can take a flyer on him in round 3. And he can give you wide receiver 2 production with wide receiver 1 targets. It's just the way he's going to get you 1,000 yards. He's going to get you 10 to 15 touchdowns. Baker Mayfield is proven that, like, all right, we're going to go out and win the South. Cool. Like that, they are the best team, and he's the best receiver on the best team in that division.
I'm going to say this. This is going to be controversial. I think by the end of the season, we're not going to say that. We're going to say another guy later on this list that I think is going to be the steal of the draft.
I mean, you talked about injury, so we want to go. I love Chris Godwin.
It's not Chris Godwin.
You going to a different player? I'd have to go look at their roster if it's a rookie or something like that.
Buka. Watch out.
That was a wide receiver from Ohio State. Yeah.
That's a name, man. We'll talk about him later, but
Yep,
he's going to be something. And then just last thing, James Cook, like he's been awesome, but man, all of his production fantasy wise for James Cook, touchdowns. He is a touchdown machine.
Yeah.
Like we're talking about variance, like he is operating on the highest level of variance. At some point, you have to regress a little bit to the means. And if he doesn't get all those touchdowns, like I think he had something like 12 or 15 last year between there, he's not as valuable. He's not a round 3 player. But again,
the Bills' offense should be better this year, though, for him to be a little bit more consistent with yardage because they don't have a backup. I think he was splitting time with another running back last year. Ray Davis is there and Ty Johnson. Like, I don't think that they have a backup. They got Frank Gore's son, which is great. But Keon Coleman's going to come on and be a little bit better. Khalil Shakir, I think, is their pseudo number 1. So I think now that what's his name's also out and he went to the Patriots. Stephon Diggs, he was there. I think that they have a little bit more of an identity of just like, all right, let's run the ball and let's get it to our wide receivers on the edges. I think you see a little bit higher production, but I would stay away from James Cook if I'm drafting in that spot because I don't like touchdown dependent running backs.
I think looking at this, my sheet, my favorite rounds of the draft are 6 and 7. But we'll just really quick jump to 4 and 5 and just do an overview. There's a lot of players going 4 and 5 that I really do not like. And I
don't like. Okay.
Really do not like in round 4 and 5. I think one crazy thing of this ADP, I'm just throwing this out there because this ADP is whack, is Brock Bowers. They have him at the second pick around 4. That man's going to end around 2. There's zero chance he makes it to round 3. That guy's the real deal. He's awesome. He's basically their wide receiver 1.
True.
In Oakland, in Las Vegas,
baby.
I almost did it. Yeah. He's awesome. He'll be the first tight end off the board. But some of the guys that really give me the stress around 4 or 5, James Conner, Kenneth Walker the third, because both guys, James Conner miraculously healthy all last year. He has a horrendous injury history. I feel like he's due for some. I don't want to put the bad juju out there, but it feels like he's due. Again, Kenneth Walker the third, awesome player, but he is constantly injured. He's hurt. He's dealing with something right now. So I don't know if he's going to be there for week 1. When I think of James Conner and Kenneth Walker the third, I'm thinking later on lottery tickets. Give me Trey Benson. Give me Zach Charbonnet just to stash to the end of my bench because I know that'll be valuable somewhere. Then you have 3 wide receivers in a row that I'm like, I don't want to touch any of it. Like if it falls to me later on, yes. Terry McLaurin, Garrett Wilson, DJ Moore.
You're bugging.
Well, I think Terry was one that probably set you off. Yes.
Yeah.
And here's the thing with Terry the McLaurin. If you look at his production last year, again, very touchdown dependent. And again, we have to think of variance year over year over year. Is Terry McLaurin going to get that many touchdowns every year? Probably not. You take away 3 of those touchdowns, and one of the touchdowns happened in miraculous end of the game play. You take away 3 of those touchdowns. He's not a top 20 wide receiver. He's probably more top 30, somewhere around 25 to 27. So I'm seeing regression from McLaurin personally. You can get into a second. Garrett Wilson, I don't want anything to do with the passing game for the Jets. I'm out on that. And then DJ Moore, it seems like there's some bad blood there in Chicago.
Yeah, Roma Dunze is there.
Roma Dunze is starting to really, really
Yeah.
become more of a presence. It seems like with Chicago and DJ Moore, it's like this while he's under contract, it feels like this might be like closer to the last year he's there. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So like I don't really love the value on either of those three players, but you can counterpoint on the Terry McLaurin thing if you'd like.
I agree with you with Garrett. Out on a Jets wide receiver because of Justin Fields. Unfortunately, agree with you with DJ Moore. I don't know how many preseason games for the Chicago Bears you watch, but like he looks pissed on the sideline. DJ Moore just looks like he doesn't want to be there because he is being shuffled out of the offense. Last year was his year to be that guy with the rookie wide receiver and get the chemistry that you're supposed to as the veteran wide receiver that they brought in being the number one. And he didn't take that step. He did exactly what he did in North Carolina. He did exactly what he did with Panthers, where he just didn't he flashed, but he didn't stay consistent. And Roma Dunze is a bigger, better wide receiver now, and he's younger. So yeah, I think they hitched their wagons around Roma Dunze, and I think there's more chemistry with Caleb Williams to Roma Dunze because they're younger. They're rookies together essentially. What I don't agree with is Scary Terry. That offense runs based off of Washington. And I think no matter who you bring in, whether it's Deebo Samuel, I know they lost Brian Robinson as the running back, but Austin Eckler, when he's healthy, is going to help Jaden Daniels. He did last year. I think Zach Ertz miraculously continues to play offense every single year, even though he's got like a broken neck every year. I don't see a dip in production because that's Jaden's number one. He might not be like a Justin Jefferson production, but when it's 3rd and 7, he's going to him. So you're getting 10 to 12 targets, 8 to 10 catches per game when it comes to Terry McLaurin. Maybe he doesn't score as many touchdowns, but I think his yards go up because he's got Deebo Samuel there, and it's not Curtis Samuel, I think, was the guy last year. I think he was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was your secondary wideout, and
they had
drawing attention away.
Who was all right.
Yeah, Zacchaeus Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was a former Eagle. So like I don't like who they had last year surrounding Jaden Daniels and Scary Terry. Now Terry McLaurin's got Deebo Samuel. If Deebo can stay healthy, look what the hell Brandon Ayuk became. You know what I'm saying? Just from Deebo being out there.
I do like I would want to grab Trey McBride here as well.
Yeah.
Right? For me, there's 2 tight ends I want, and then if I don't get Trey McBride or Brock Bowers, I'm probably just going to wait until everyone picks up the tight ends.
Drastic drop in tight ends nowadays, unfortunately. But
yeah,
I got a little sleeper tight end for you at some point. Let's see if the name comes up.
I have one as well. One other player that I'm like, I don't feel great drafting here. Again, there's a lot of players in this round range that I don't like. Breece Hall.
Yeah,
I know he's fallen off because I think last year, the year before, he was going in the top 5. Breece Hall is now a 4th round guy. I only say that, and it's not anything about Justin Fields. It's not anything about the Jets offense. It's because I don't think he's the best running back on the Jets team. Braylon Allen, I don't know if you ever watched Braylon Allen play. He was 19 playing last year in the NFL. And when you watch Braylon Allen and Breece Hall, Breece Hall comes out of the game, takes a few snaps, they bring in Braylon Allen, you go, oh, that guy's better. When you see Braylon Allen run, he runs harder, faster, more explosive. I think it's only a matter of time before Braylon Allen starts to dig into that workload seriously and becomes a lead back.
That's what I was gonna say. He runs like he wants to be the lead back. Breece Hall runs like he's the starting running back, and there's a big difference between the two. So,
and they brought in a new regime, so there's no loyalty to who was the number 1 last year.
Yep. No, I don't mind that. I'm out on Jets players. I know I took Garrett Wilson high, I think last year because I was like, oh, they got Aaron Rodgers, and it just took too long for that to actually work for them. But yeah, I'm out on those. A name that look, I think there's a lot of stock out there, and I'm sure Ty if he's listening or watching, he's going to say something about it. But Cortland Sutton, hear me out on this one. Bo Nix is going to have a decent year. I think so. Another year with
Sean Payton.
Thank you. Another year with Sean Payton under. I think
he's your coach, man.
No, he's not. He's the coach for the Denver Broncos. They didn't think about drafting a fucking quarterback for 12 years, and then he goes to Denver. And let's get a quarterback in here. It's dog, you couldn't prep the Saints when they were when you had.
I'm sorry I set you off. I
know, but no, I'm good. But yes, I think Cortland Sutton has a ton of upside. Troy Franklin is going to help them. on the outside, and I don't really think Marvin Mims is going to do much. But I think Cortland Sutton is going to be, if he can stay healthy, I think he can be your consistent wide receiver 3. If you, depending on how you draft between the beginning of the round 1 and round 4 or 5, I think you could sneak some great value out of Cortland Sutton this year.
I'm seeing Patrick Mahomes come off the board as the next quarterback after the Jalen Hurts and Joe Burrow wave. Don't do that. Just don't. He's not a good fantasy quarterback. He hasn't been a good fantasy quarterback for many years. Please just don't do it. There's a lot of good quarterbacks out there. I'm buying the Calvin Ridley stock this year.
Really?
Yes, he's their only pass catcher. There seems to be huge chemistry between.
I've heard good news about Cam Ward.
Yes,
and that's good.
And I don't want his brother to fail. Cam Ward is peppering Calvin Ridley. Like, he's the only guy he wants to give the ball to.
Okay, then I can see that working out. Then I look at it as like, I just don't want him to be an Anthony Richardson. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want that at all, because it's not good for the league when that happens. It's not good for African American quarterbacks when that happens. But I think I've heard a lot of really good talk around Cam Ward and the way that he's handling himself amongst the team, how he's looked in preseason, more importantly, how he's looked in practice in preseason. So, all right, if that's the case, then yeah, Calvin Ridley is a wide receiver 1. He was when he was in Atlanta, right?
Yes.
When he was healthy, prior to his not only healthy, before he was starting betting on games.
Yeah.
Before he was being dumb, he was a wide receiver 1. He was when he was at Alabama and Georgia. So, like, yeah, I think it's a good pick.
I retract my previous statement. I'm also happy getting George Kittle in this round as far as the tight end. I think George Kittle will still feast. If you think about the pass catchers, in San Francisco right now, it's Juwan Jennings is hurt at the moment. It's just Ricky Pearsall.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't get shot. Yeah.
Yeah, so like he should get decent volume. One that I'm just like kind of interested in, and no one's really talked about him. I'm just curious how this plays out. Xavier Worthy. I've decided to keep him in my league, and I only want to keep Worthy because 2 things. Number one, he had a really good second half of the season, Xavier Worthy, that is. And I don't know what's going to happen with Rashee Rice. Like, it sounds like he's going to get suspended at some point this season, and it should be between 4 and 6 games. If that happens at the end of the season, like closer to your fantasy playoffs, Xavier Worthy could absolutely win you a fantasy playoffs, become the number 1 wide receiver in that offense.
He took off towards the end of the season last year.
Yes.
And in the playoffs. I think playoffs more than regular season. So I think we saw the unleashing of like, ooh, they could start to use him like they use Tyreek Hill. And if that's the case, if Andy Reid gets him in open space and he's relying more on the wide receivers than Travis Kelce this year,
which he will.
He will. Well, there's a reason why that they'll do that. And like I said, I have a sleeper tight end, and he's on the Kansas City Chiefs.
That's a deep cut.
Yeah, I know. But I think, well, I mean, the brother's getting old. Travis Kelce's just getting old. So I think at some point you may see the keys be turned over to a receiver like Xavier Worthy. So I like that value behind him.
Speaking of the Kansas City Chiefs, this is one of my like best picks in this part of the draft. If you spent your first couple picks, your first couple rounds, you got your Justin Jefferson, right? Maybe you picked up your Kyron Williams second round, and then you got your Bowers. Maybe you got a tight end, or a quarterback, so like you haven't really addressed any of the positions. Isaiah Pacheco going in round 6 is a fucking steal. This man was a round 2 running back last year, and the only reason why he fell is because he broke his leg. The man broke his leg. And he came back and he's like, oh, he's not good now. What happened? Yeah, because he came back from a broken fucking leg. Like, I fully expect Isaiah Pacheco to be more like Isaiah Pacheco next year. And we've seen from Andy Reid, like in this Chiefs offense, they don't want to be flashy 40 points a game. They want to grind you down and make big plays here or there. Like Isaiah Pacheco, to me, in a round 6, like this is a steal of the draft.
Yeah, he's there. He's there. He's gonna be the guy that they're handing the ball off to 15, 20 times a game. And he's gonna average 5 yards per carry. It really depends on how well they do in the red zone. So I'd say, yeah, I'd say that he's a good value running back depending on how your team is fit when you get to rounds 5.
I put a note on my sheet because I tried to look at position for positional scarcity, basically saying like, hey, assuming a normal format of 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, maybe you do 2 wide receivers, whatever. Like at a certain point, right, you have to fill wide receiver, running back 1, running back 2. At a certain point, it gets so far down the list on players that I'm like, I do not want him as my running back 2. No, thank you. Round 6 is where like I do not want anyone after that as my second running back. So at this point, I would hope you've left the first 6 rounds with your 1 and 2 running back.
Yeah, this is a little bit too far, and we talked about this right at the very beginning. Travion Henderson has had an incredible he's had an incredible preseason, so like I'm not knocking him by any means, but if you're going into it like I can steal my running back 1 in rounds 5 or 6, it's like you're playing with fire because you got a lot of backups and guys that are now journeymen. Tony Pollard being one of them, DeAndre Swift now in Chicago. I think Aaron Jones is just over the hill. Did I say Tony Pollard? No, Tony Pollard. Like you got guys that like they've had their peak already, and you're just hoping that they can relight that fire that they had as a peak running back. If you got, like you said, if this is your RB2, RB1 area, you're in some serious trouble.
I would like those guys that you mentioned, but as my flex.
Flex, yeah. I got no problem throwing David Montgomery as a flex. No problem coming off of an injury.
Oh, wait, Travion Henderson, just real quick. I like what this kid is. He is lightning in a bottle for the Patriots, but his ADP has risen so much that it is absolutely insane to draft him in like early round 4. Late round 4, early round 5. Like he's awesome, but he's not going to be that guy. You still have Ramondre.
I was just going to say that. Like, hear me out with this. For everybody that just thinks that Stevenson is just going to be the backup, or this is a Jamar Gibbs situation. Like, who's the linebacker coach? Can't remember his name.
Gerard Mayo.
No. The guy that's actually Vrabel. Vrabel is old fucking school. He's not just going to hand the ball off to a rookie running back. Like, you got to remember who you play for. And coaching-wise, did Belichick ever just let a rookie running back come in and be the ball carrier? No. He was always going with the veteran running back. I'm not saying Vrabel is Belichick-esque. I'm saying those old school, like, bootstrap coaches that aren't pass first, they're going with the veteran. So, like, does he have potential upside if Stevenson gets hurt? Yes. But like don't reach for a backup quarterback knowing that Ramondre Stevenson is the RB1 if he's healthy. Like just don't do that.
All right, next couple rounds 6 through 8 is our upside play. So instead of focusing on negative, we're just going to pick some of the guys in this round that we're going to be targeting that we think have upside that you might draft them as like a flex or maybe your first guy on the bench, but they could reach a potential of like, oh, this guy could actually be my RB2, like if things break right, or this guy could be my wide receiver 3, wide receiver 2, right? So it's like guys that have some upside. I'm going to nominate first. We'll go back and forth.
Okay.
My first one that I don't want anyone in my league to hear this one because I think this guy could be a sneaky like rookie of the year candidate. Matthew Golden, wide receiver, Green Bay Packers.
100%.
I'm glad you're with me. The Packers have
a knack for small wide receivers.
The Packers have historically not spent a ton of draft capital on like a blue chip wide receiver. We're talking about a first round guy. They drafted this guy in the first round. He has blazing fast speed, right? And not only is he fast, but he can run routes extremely well. He's going to step into the wide receiver room in Green Bay, probably as their wide receiver 1, right? And eat up the majority of the big play passes. I think people are hesitant on Green Bay because in the past you've had a ton of guys there. Romeo Doubs, everyone has been burnt. I don't know all the wide receivers, but everyone's been burnt by Green Bay wide receivers in the past. And I think they have finally invested a ton of capital to be like, we need to get a established high pedigree wide receiver 1 in here. I'm buying all the Matthew Golden stock. I think that he will be a potentially like you could end the year him as being like a top 15 wide receiver if things break right.
100%. Just because of what they did with Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed, his rookie season was phenomenal. And he was a little bit off last season, I think, when they kind of keyed in on him. But the Packers historically like to go Romeo Doubs when he was a rookie. Like they like to go after these guys and feed them early in their career with the Packers. So like whether that was because Doubs took off with Aaron Rodgers and then Reed took off with Jordan Love. So like They have a Christian Watson never really panned out, unfortunately, but that was a D3 player. But at the end of the day, yeah, I see. I think Octavian Wicks even had a really good rookie year. Like I look at Matthew Gold, I'm like, he's going to be the steal of the draft for when you draft him. I'm not saying reach for him in like round 4, but like if we're in 6, 7, and 8, you got yourself like
He's going in 7 right now, early
yeah,
7.
you got a flex available. Oh yeah, give me the rookie wide receiver. Absolutely.
Oh, who's your first nomination?
Roma Dunze, 100%.
Yes, yeah.
I don't know why he would be this far. 7th round
Yeah,
potentially.
mid-7th. Yeah.
Yeah, give me buy all the Roma Dunze stock. Say what you want about Caleb Williams, but with the terrible with coaches, the guy Greg Johnson, not Greg Johnson.
What coach?
Who's the coach for the Bears?
Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson. Damn it. Ben Johnson. Look what the hell he did with Jared Goff, right? And I've heard a whole bunch of things saying, look, we threw the book at Caleb Williams because we want him to be pissed off and get frustrated and be aggravated in preseason so that it becomes second nature to him in the regular season. I love that. And he's responding very well to it. So if Ben Johnson can make Amon-Ra St. Brown a number 1 wide receiver in the league, oh yeah, give me the 6'2", 220-pound Mike Evans build. That's your number 1. Yep. 100%.
Well, I'm going to continue our love for wide receivers in this range and the upside plays. And this is why I think like you should definitely tackle running back early because you and me both are loving these wide receivers in round 7 and 8, 6, 7, and 8. I'm going to go with Ricky Pearsall in San Francisco. Again, it's just
don't get shot.
He's just don't get shot. Very funny joke, D. But seriously, who's catching passes in San Francisco right now?
Yeah.
Nobody. Right. He's going to be, and he was very good at the end of last year.
He got a lot of targets at the end of last year.
But that's the thing, D. This is what I say in fantasy. People that in my league just like get mad when I say this. Target volume is king in fantasy. Yep. Whether it be touches with the ball as a running back or targets. I don't even care about receptions. Are you throwing 10 balls at my receiver a game? Good things are going to happen at some point. And Ricky Pearsall of the San Francisco offense, he's going to get volume. And he's a good player. He's a first-round pick, I believe.
These are the targets. Was he first or late second? He was end of the first, 31st. He started the season because somebody was injured. I think it was Debo. I think Brandon Ayuk had a contract issue and Debo was hurt. So he got 10 targets and 140 yards in the Detroit loss. Then he went right back to being like wide receiver 4 or 5. End of the season, 6 targets for 74 targets. So it was against the Cowboys, and then 5 targets against KC. They're going to pepper him. They're 100% going to throw him the ball. So yeah, I don't mind it. I'm not a big fan of 49ers. Like in general, I think like you said, Kittle might have the best performance on the team, but I don't mind that spot. If we're at 6, 7, and 8 for that type of wide receiver, sure. Are we going just 7th round, or are we talking all 3 rounds?
All 3, wherever you want to go.
I don't want to steal yours, so I'll let you keep that one.
Okay.
But I will say, if there is a good spot, a good player for this one, I know this might be laughable, but I might be in on Tyrone Tracy this year.
I actually have him highlighted on my list.
Because the Giants' offense isn't great, but that boy runs hard. When he gets the rock, like very similar to, and he catches passes too, even better. But what I've seen when he's like running the rock, he looks like he wants to be the starting running back. And it's like if they hand the keys over to him at that point, because I don't think he's the running back RB1 right now. I think that's somebody else, like Wandell.
So Tyrone Tracy's the number 1.
Is he the RB1? Okay, cool. So the
RB2 is Cam Skadbu right now, who hasn't even really played.
Cool. So yeah, I would say that there's a lot of value, especially this late in the draft. If you got a flex play that you're potentially needing, or first off the bench,
an excellent flex that like if you have your RB2 go down for like a week, like you're not gonna pay like
no flyer needed. You got him.
You can slot him right in.
There was somebody else that they had as a running back last year. Wandale Robinson was a wide receiver. Sorry, that's what I'm thinking of. Okay.
I think it was Singletary. Maybe was there a Singletary back there
right now.
Yeah, I actually had him highlighted. I skipped over him, so I'm glad you mentioned.
A lot of people laugh at Giants, and they don't have a lot. But we just talked about Malik Neighbors earlier because he's got Russell Wilson throwing to him. I think you can get some type of value out of Tyrone Tracy.
I actually like Tyrone Tracy there. The player you said you'll say for me is I think this might be like again another gem of the draft this year. Emeka Abuka,
Yeah.
wide receiver for Tampa Bay. Again, Tampa Bay drafted Emeka Abuka, the top 20 pick in the draft, and everyone was including myself, scratched their head like, "What are you doing? Why you have Mike Evans, you have Chris Godwin, you have McMillan. I know they had one more other wide receiver. I'm drawing a blank, but like they had a solid wide receiver core.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you drafting Abuka? We're not going to see Godwin for a while. He's just got cleared to come back to practice, but they're going to ease him in, so he won't be there to start the season. So Abuka will slide in as a starter right off the jump. In all reports at a Bucks camp, everyone loves this dude. Like he's coming in more polished than any rookie they've ever seen. Like this dude's going to feast, and I wouldn't be surprised, D, if by the time Chris Godwin comes back, they're like, yeah, Abuka, you're really like our number 2 / maybe 1 receiver at this point, and everyone else will eat around you. Like he's that good.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's a good pick. Ohio State receivers have traditionally been pretty good, so we're hoping like we've seen the peak of like a Chris Olave. So like they have the ability of being really good wide receivers. I'll at least say
The
that.
only problem with Abuka is like about 2 weeks ago, he was going in like the 11th round, and then he started going in the 10th round, and then the 9th round. He's getting a lot of traction in the fantasy community. So I wouldn't be surprised by the time if you're drafting the day before the season, he's probably going to be like in the 7th round. Like he just keeps moving up draft boards.
Yeah, that's fair. We want to jump over to the 9th round.
Yeah, I just wanted to shout out like I think there are some good. If you punted on quarterback earlier, like I'm super happy getting a Dak Prescott in the 8th round. And I know you're not going to like this one.
We did talk about that. Go ahead.
But I would also be okay with a Kyler Murray.
This late, sure. I don't want him to be part of that second wave of quarterback. This is third, right? This is your Burrow's gone, your Patrick Mahomes
second wave's gone.
Like, like you're this is like QB 8 to 12. Jared Goff is usually in this area. Guys. Yeah, you've stacked your team with your RB1 and 2 and your wide receiver 1 and 2, and you've most likely got your flex. So I don't mind if that's your game plan is to take a later quarterback. Yeah, Dak Prescott in the spot, Jared Goff played MVP.
Jared Goff.
You don't want Jared Goff?
No.
Jared Goff was like MVP level last year. What are you talking about?
If you look at Jared Goff's game logs fantasy-wise, he'll put up like a 35-point game and then a 9-point game.
Yeah.
And it's because he's so reliant on passing. He has literally zero rushing potential. That the floor is so low on him that he could easily just lose you a week. I'm out on that.
Half of their games are indoors. So as long as you're starting him when he's indoors, you're fine. That's all you got to worry about. Don't start him if they're playing the Bears, though.
All right. So then we're getting to the last part of our draft, the lottery tickets. So like round 9 and up, I guess whoever you want to throw out as a lottery ticket D, I'm actually going to nominate my tight end now.
Okay.
So if I don't get one of my first 3 guys, I'm going to take a couple like what I like to do is like if I don't get like premier guys on every level. So like if I'm drafting my Dak Prescott or who we just mentioned, Kyler Murray, I'm taking maybe 2 guys in that position just so I have like 2 bites of the apple.
Yep.
But one of my tight ends, if I don't get a top tight end, I'll take a bite of the apple. Tyler Warren.
Oh, I was waiting for you to skip him. Good call.
Because he had a high pedigree. So this is Tyler Warren. He's a tight end, plays for Indianapolis. I think he played his college ball in Penn State.
Penn State, yep. He was like wide receiver 1 at Penn State.
Yeah, he's an excellent receiver, which you wouldn't have excellent receiving tight end, which you wouldn't think looking at him because he has the long flowing like blonde hair. You think he'd be like a gritty blocking receiver. No, excellent hands, high pedigree for a tight end. He was taken in the top, I think 15 of the draft by the Colts, maybe 15, maybe 15 or 20. But something to consider: Shane Steichen runs an RPO heavy offense, lots of short passes over the middle of the field. Danny Jones,
baby,
does not like to throw deep.
Nope.
Danny Dimes is the ultimate. Let me check that thing
down, baby.
Tyler Warren. Fun fact: like this dude gets yak for a tight end. Think about George Kittle. He's like a George Kittle light. This dude is going to get so many reception opportunities in his Indianapolis Colts offense. Like we could look back next year at Tyler Warren as the Brock Bowers of last year. Like he could be that good. So like that's an excellent lottery ticket tight end.
That's not a bad choice. I'm upset that you took that from that spot, because I really didn't have anybody after this. These are all like rehashed names of like superstars that used to do something in the past but really can't do anything right now.
And by the way, he's going in almost the 10th round. Just a heads up.
This is a just throw out there, and maybe this might work for you a little bit later. A potential Quinshon Judkins running back out of
I like that
Cleveland,
one.
because Nick Chubb is no longer there. Jerome Ford has been shown to be very inconsistent. 1 week he can get you 80 yards, the next week he gets you 10. Rookie running backs, we know once they get the opportunity, they usually do pretty damn good.
So let me ask you this, because I know there was a legal issue with him. I don't know what it was exactly. Is that cleared up now?
Haven't heard anything about it. So if that's the case, if there's something that was potentially taken away,
he hadn't signed
right here, as opposed to 11 days ago, Judkins won't face charge for July's arrest.
Okay, so he's in the clear. All right, so
it doesn't seem like there's anything there, but
yeah, no,
he looks into it. That's different, but apparently
an excellent lottery ticket pick, because again, where's he going?
It's showing. Where did I just find him?
11th round.
Yeah, 11th to 12th round.
That could be a starting running back.
Yeah,
and there's value there. I love that. I was going to throw another running back that's skyrocketing up draft boards, so it might, by the time you draft or I draft, it might be too high of a price. Ja'Cory Crocky Merritt. Do you know who that is?
The name sounds familiar. Does he play for the Commanders?
He does. Okay. Rookie running back, lots of hype around him, very explosive. They just obviously traded away Brian Thomas. Brian Thomas?
Thomas plays for the Jaguars.
Yeah, who's the other Brian? Brian Robinson Jr.
Brian Robinson Jr.
Yeah, it is traded Brian Robinson Jr. I don't think he'll be immediately impactful. He could be excellent towards the back half of the season. That's a player they might want to just draft and like hang on to for a while, but he could be someone to pop for you.
I don't mind that. I tried to look to see if he was on here, because this is like the later rounds for it. We were talking about the Chargers and their offense. They got a dog as a rookie wide receiver. I just can't remember his name. Let me try to find out who he is.
All right, when you look for that, again, a couple really deep lottery tickets that you're gonna hold on to for a while, but they might never cash. I'm gonna try to draft Zach Charbonnet and Trey Benson late in the draft. Like 14th round, just like let him sit at the last spot on my bench and just hope for an injury. Like I'm fine with that.
So I found the guy, big wide receiver, 6'3", 210, Trey Harris out of Ole Miss. I think these are flyer picks, right? Like these are guys that like I don't need Romeo Dobbs on my bench. I really don't, right? Like I don't need Tank Bigsby. Like that's just not that's not going to do much for Javonte Williams. Like I don't need that type of player. So give me these random rookie wide receiver / running backs that could explode. Trey Harris ran like a 4.3 40. He's 6'2", 6'3", 210 in a passing offense that I just talked about. Quentin Johnston being a trash wide receiver. Like he's lost his opportunity. So if you get rounds 10, 11, and you're looking for somebody that could be a spark plug for you, fill in after weeks 5 or 6, and they get sick of Johnston, and they go, you know what, put the rookie in there. This is a guy that could be a later wide receiver 3 flex option for your team.
Last two for me, they're out there, round 13, both. I'm grabbing Braylon Allen if I can.
Yeah, you brought him up.
The Jets backup running back who might be the starter by the end of the season. And then we talked about Tyler Warren. If I draft Tyler Warren, I'm also going to try to pair it up with Colston Loveland, tight end.
Oh, yeah. Where did he go?
Chicago.
He's a Chicago. Oh, that's a good one.
They have Cole Kmet still there, but
he's not going to keep that spot.
Yeah, they drafted Colston with like a top 12 pick or something. Yeah. And Ben Johnson, he's had Sam Laporta in the past, so he knows how to get the tight end involved. That could be another sneaky one. Again, if you miss out on the first 3 tight ends, I would not panic and draft to Travis Kelce. I would wait and get some of these lottery tickets.
Get a. You might not get a lot of production from them immediately, but get the guy that is going to be the guy by like week 4.
Yep.
Whew. Wow. That's a lot.
That was a lot. We covered a lot of football. Hey, really quick question.
Yeah.
All right. Hopefully no one in my league's listening.
Hmm.
How should I handle Travis Hunter in my league? I play IDP, which is individual defensive player.
Okay.
Meaning I have to start 2 linebackers, 2 defensive linemen, 2 defensive backs, and a flex defensive player.
Yep.
Travis Hunter plays both offense and defense supposedly in the NFL now.
Mm-hmm.
He qualifies as a cornerback.
So you can play him as a quarterback, corner, and get wide receiver points.
Yes. How much value should he have in my league?
High.
That's what I'm thinking. Like I'm thinking I might have to spend like what is equivalent to like a 3rd or a 2nd round pick on him.
What do you get points for? What are your points per deflection?
1.5
per knockdown.
Yes,
100%. Then, because he's not going to get a lot of interceptions. Teams won't test him to make interceptions, but he will get knockdowns. I promise you that. He plays the ball like a wide receiver because he is a wide receiver, and he's not afraid to tackle. Like we've seen him make hits that cause fumbles when he was at Colorado. So he is a all around. Like I'm not ready to say he's Pat Surtain yet, but he wants to be a physical corner, and that is going to get you 2 or 3 tackles per game, 1 or 1.5 maybe 2 knockdowns per game, and then you got your wide receiver production. So yeah,
it's basically getting another wide receiver slot on my team for free.
Essentially, yeah. So I mean, I don't know how many people will be paying attention to that in your league if they're like.
I think some of them know, some of them are probably aware.
A lot of people don't watch college, so like.
Yeah.
They may know the name, but they don't know how good. Like, oh, he just won the Heisman. Like, that's all I know. It's like,
you imagine, like, I know a lot of people play team defenses. Imagine if you could draft a defense that you know would guarantee you 6 defensive touchdowns a year.
You know, I was kind of against individual defensive players for a while, and the more that like I'm exposed to like you talking about it, but like the more I hear about it, I kind of like it more than the defense itself because like
better.
I'll sit there and be like, dog, like this defense just played their asses off, but like they gave up a field goal and I just lost
points
because they went from 10. Yeah, like they went from 10 to 6 points with a fucking field goal. And I'm like, that's annoying. Like, there's no way, unless they get a touchdown, there's no way that they can make that up. You know what I'm saying? Like you could play great defense the whole game and not get a sack or get an interception, but give up 6 points and you only got 4 points from your defense.
I think I've seen the highest defensive total I've ever seen on my team. I think Myles Garrett once got me like 26 fantasy points.
God, was that like
3
sacks? And
like 3 sacks of 2, like a forced fumble, 5 tackle for losses. It's just like give me all
for losses. Yeah, I mean,
it's dope, man.
I know it's a lot harder because like you got to be in depth to know football players to get the defensive side.
Love as a defensive guy, though.
I 100% would, but like I was against it when I was younger because I like didn't want to have to pay attention. But like I would always draft like Charles Woodson because I'm like he's a safety / corner that gets you tackles like a safety but picks like a corner. So like I'd go after guys like that. So nowadays we're like they got these nickel safeties that play in the box but also can get picks. Yeah, that would be fun to play.
Who's the guy from Baltimore? He's like perfect for that. Their Joker safety. You know something about the guy Roves
for the I'd have to see his name.
I wish you knew. Why am I asking you names? You're bad.
Yeah, I'm terrible with actual names, but as soon as I see him, I'll know exactly what you're talking about.
All right, let's hit up closing takes and get out of here. Do you have a closing take?
Marlon Humphrey. That's what you're talking about because he used to play for Alabama. Do I have a closing take? Absolutely. Yeah, I'm ready for it.
All right, let's get to that and get out of here.
The show is coming to an end. But first, it's time to get to anything we've missed. It's closing time. 1 segment, 2 takes. Now go.
All right, closing takes. Time for me and D to get off one last take before we get out of here. It can be related to the topics of today or whatever we want. I'm going to kick us off first. D, did you see, like, I've been following all the buzz this week. Did you see what happened with Rampage Jackson's son?
Oh, my God. Yeah. Not good.
Yeah.
Not good at all. But go ahead. Fill the guest in.
Raja Jackson. So like, I don't know what his deal is. Like, he does Twitch or Kick or whatever, one of those things.
Kick.
Kick. And
Don't disrespect Twitch like that.
what's that?
So don't disrespect Twitch like that. Kick is like trying to be Twitch.
All right. So he was doing Kick or whatever, and he's like a trying to be an influencer or whatnot. And he went to some like amateur wrestling event, and he was backstage, and I guess one of the wrestlers like hit him over the head with a beer can that was like open. Like the wrestler thought it was part of like a promotion, like for like for the event of the night. And this guy Raja like took it very seriously, and the guy apologized, like, "Oh, like my bad. I thought you were like part of the wrestling crew," because like Rampage Jackson's son. If you ever seen Rampage Jackson, he's a monster. This guy's a big motherfucker. So the wrestler obviously like thought like, oh, he's backstage at a wrestling event, big, like he must be part of the thing. Anyways, so the guy apologizes, they get all through it, and he tells Raja, hey, like, do you want to be part of the show? Anyways, like you can jump in the ring and come get me during the match. Raja says, sure. So I know this is a long-winded story, but Raja's sitting there before the match, like basically like, I'm gonna fuck this guy up, like talking on Kick. Goes in the ring, tackles this man, and just beats the hell out of him with like real fist punch. Hits him like 22 times. The dude gets knocked out cold. Has to go to the hospital. He's in horrible condition. This dude, I think he might be facing like some like attempted murder charges on this thing. It's insane.
Yeah, it's not a good look. Not a good look at all. For those that haven't seen it, I'm sure if you were to pull up your X or Instagram, anything social media wise, and just search Rampage's son. I can't remember his name, but like Raja. If you search, it's not a good look by any means. Like, it's actually really annoying because like I'm a big fan. Rampage Jackson is my favorite UFC fighter. So like when I saw the name, I was like, oh, he's got a son, nice. And I started watching the video. I was like, what the hell am I watching? Like that's literally attempted murder, assault and battery, at least, right? Like that's not part of wrestling at all.
And the idiot recorded everything on his Kick
live on Twitch.
And not only that, but he like premeditated and told like the Twitch, like, I'm gonna like go in the ring and like beat the shit out of this dude.
Kick. We gotta stop saying Twitch. It wasn't Twitch. It's Kick.
Yeah. Well, we don't like Kick around here. We're pro Twitch podcast.
Yeah. I have the app and I haven't even opened it. It's just there on my phone. All right, well, let me try to sprucing this up because that was a little bit of a Debbie Downer one. I'm upset. I'm pissed and I'm disappointed because we do this every other week, and when we come back every other week, there's usually something dedicated to it, right? Like we've been talking a shit ton of football. I think we talked about basketball, one of them, but like we haven't done like a random segment, right? Like we had the college football ranking, but like we haven't had like our hodgepodge of stuff. And I have disrespectfully not talked about the WNBA lately.
I was gonna say not once this summer you've mentioned WNBA.
Yeah. So because like when we come in, like we're just focused on one thing, and I'm like, all right, cool, let's talk about this. I am sorry, and I apologize, but there is not enough talk around Paige Beckers right now. For everything that everybody was doing with Caitlin Clark last year because she hit threes and she broke the record for most assists as a rookie, I get it. But if we want to talk about strictly basketball, getting buckets and doing whatever you can, although her team is trash, right? They are very, very bad. They will be most likely a number 1 or number 2 pick again. Paige Beckers is playing phenomenal. I don't know if you caught her game against the Sparks a couple of nights ago. She went off. 44 points, 17 of 21 shooting, 4 for 4 from 3, all for Kelsey Plum to hit a game-winning hook shot. Like she's dominating, right? And she's averaging, I think it's like 19 a game. Like she's shooting incredible from percentage-wise. Let me get the exact, so I'm not just making up. Yeah, she's shooting 34% from 3, 46 from the field, and she's the only option for the Wings. And again, they're going to be drafting number 1 and number 2 because they're a very bad team. But Paige Beckers looks and has done exactly what you expect for a number 1 pick, getting buckets, playing defense, and willing her team, even in a game where she puts up damn near 50 and they lose by 1. So it's like I haven't paid as much respect as I normally do to the WNBA, but as we get back into these week by week shows that we're going to, we'll have our little segments for me to give my shout outs. Yeah,
I was gonna say, I don't think once this year you've spoken WNBA, and that's
this year.
This
season. You mean? All right, cool. Yeah, this season. You're right.
This season. Do you see like they're trying to move a team to like the Boston situation with the WNBA? That was interesting.
No, they're getting rid of Connecticut, or they're just trying to make a new team.
So the Connecticut Sun are owned by the Mohegan Indian Native American tribe that owns the Mohegan Casino.
Yeah.
They want to sell the Sun. They're trying to sell the Sun, and the owner, not the owner of the Boston Celtics, one of the minority owners of the Celtics, took a group and put a bid in for like $360 million to buy the Sun, and they wanted to take the team and relocate them to Boston, and now the WNBA stepped in and pretty much is like, no, we're not going to do that.
Why?
They're like, I think the WNBA would rather buy it themselves and like leave it in Connecticut or put it in like Hartford or something than move it to Boston. I think they would rather have an expansion team in Boston, and they're like blocking it. But yeah, they're not moving the Sun to Boston, which would be great because the Sun have played in the TD Garden a couple times and they sell it out every time.
I mean, it's a growing game. I'm pretty sure there's going to be 2 new teams next season. But yeah, I didn't know about that. That's kind of annoying to hear. Is that a Charleston shirt?
Yeah,
good stuff. The Cougars, good stuff.
College of Charleston. I'm exhausted, man.
Yeah, that was a lot. As it always is when we do these ADP shows. There's a lot of information. Hour and a half strong though.
You and me joke like offline, like, man, if we did a radio show, we'd absolutely crush it. We just powered an hour and a half, nonstop, no water break. I'm pouring sweat. It's so hot in this room right now.
So sooner or later, we should just start running commercials because why not? Right? Like, let us get a little bit of a 30-second break to be like, all right, we'll be right back.
Take a pee break or something. Yeah, that'd be great. These people on radio, like you talk for 10 minutes and you like take 5 minutes off and just screw off.
They get 15-minute segments and then like a 2-minute, 120 seconds commercials. Although I think I'm gonna be very, very strict. The last couple of seasons, I've been like, all right, later GBA games on Monday, schedule them. But I think I'm lying in the sand this season. I'll get a little bit more removed from the 2K game. It's just I'm getting older. My time is, hey man, I got more time to spend somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? So like it's just part of gaming. But I think I would rather dedicate more time to what we do here than towards doing this for an hour and a half or hour and 15 minutes and then going to play for an hour and a half 2K, because like that itself, going from the mentality of one thing to the other, it's like draining.
Oh, and yeah. You have a 2K after this?
No. Season hasn't started yet.
Okay.
But I'm saying, because I've done that, I'm like, all right, yeah, just start the series at 10. And then I'm going to bed at like 1 in the morning. And I'm like, I think I would rather our shows run 1:30, 1:45. I don't want it to be 2 hours, obviously, but like I would rather that effort go into this than me do this for an hour and 15 and then dedicate another 2 hours to 2K. Like that shit is it's draining.
I guess a little behind the scenes. Like I love doing this podcast with you, but dude, I get so like worked up and hyped like when we go back and forth on shit. I am not going to sleep tonight. Like every time we do the podcast, I'm like, I cannot sleep. I'm just like,
it's hard to turn off. Yeah, it's not easy.
Unless you're D, who just will pass out on the couch immediately after this.
Still takes me a while to do that, but we here though.
All right, man, get us out of here.
All right. I need to put like a little script here so I don't go off verbiage and just say the same shit every time. But as we say when we get up out here, we couldn't appreciate you guys that listen to us right now, watching us live, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. And then you tune in tomorrow, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcast, or wherever it is that you get your podcast. It will be uploaded, obviously, video and voice on Spotify. Shout out to your boys. Also, new to the stream and new to Frizz and the Grizz, catch us on TikTok, baby. You can find all of our shorts. You can find all of our clips, all these heated debates that we have, and hot topics and hot takes that you can disagree with us on. It's always fun.
It's always disagreement, too. No one's like, good job, guys.
Oh, man. Like, people were telling us, I saw a comment that said ban podcast equipment because of the whole Joe Burrow thing. I fucking love that. So if you guys are mad at what we do, it must be something that we're doing right. Keep it up. I love it. Bring it on. More importantly, end of the summer is almost here, which is crazy. So please be a friend. Say something nice. You never know what it could do for someone. Please make sure y'all take care of y'all mentals. Please make sure y'all take care of y'all physicals. Your boys are working out. Boy, getting buff, boy. You know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all take care of y'all chicken. Take care of y'all children. And we'll catch y'all on the rebound. Peace.
Where are we at in society today? Come after after me. I'm a man. I'm 40. I'm not a kid.